How to become a security control assessor. How to become a security control assessor. Check it out. So you want to become a security control assessor, also known as a SCA, SCA. To become a security control assessor, you need to know what a security control is. So a security control is something that you put in place or measures put in place to minimize or reduce risk. So it could be something as simple as a policy, procedure document, firewall, antivirus, input validation, data loss prevention. So there are different things you could put in place to reduce risk. That's a security control. Now, NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technology, have come out with a list of security control families, and this you could find in NIST 800-53. You could find the different security control families, such as AC1, AC, AU, SI, and the list goes on. But a security control assessor is someone who knows security controls and tests those security controls, interviews the parties responsible for those security controls, and examines results of those controls, or examines artifacts related to those controls. So as a security control assessor, your main objective would be to do security control assessments. So you're going to do the security control assessment by looking at documentation, talking to people, and then documenting whether those security controls passed or failed, if they're working as intended, if they are producing the desired results, if they were implemented correctly. Okay, so we're going to take a look at key documents and key tasks of a security control assessor.
One of the first things a security control assessor does is attend a kickoff meeting. This is a meeting where the security control assessor meets with the client and stakeholders, and they go over what's supposed to happen, what system is going to be assessed, go over any proposed dates, POCs, and things of that nature. Then the next thing the assessor is going to do is create what's called a security assessment plan, also known as a SAP. So this document is going to entail the approach, the methods, the schedule that's going to be used to assess the controls, and have the different laws and regulations that they would be abiding with, and any type of rules of engagement. So this would be the first document that the assessor will have to develop. In some organizations, they have the assessor develop a PowerPoint presentation that's based on the SAP that goes over the document. So it takes key sections of the document and has it in a PowerPoint form just to go over with the client. Most of the time, this is done at the kickoff meeting. Next, the assessor is going to conduct a security control assessment, right? So when we say conduct a security control assessment, we're talking about testing, interviewing, and examining. And we'll go over that in a few seconds. But here are some tips that you could use as an assessor. So when you're reviewing or examining evidence, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. You have to make sure that screenshots that they provide you capture the date and time. So screenshots are basically screen captures of a system's configuration or a setting or some image. All right. Next tip would be policy documents. If you have any policy documents that you're reviewing, make sure that if it's a policy document, it has the signatory page on there and that it's signed. If it's a procedure document, then it doesn't really need a signature page unless one is in there. But it just needs to have a revision history table that is updated. Okay, so the difference between a policy document and a procedure document is, one, a policy document is more general, so it's general goals. For example, everyone in this organization needs to have encrypted email or needs to encrypt data. That's the general policy. The procedure document, on the other hand, will specify what type of encryption and the step-by-step procedures to encrypt that information. So one is a general statement that's mandatory. The other one is more of a guide, a step-by-step approach. Another tip for reviewing evidence is looking at the system name. Make sure that the system name is on any document that you review and on any screenshot. It could be the system name or the IP address, anything that identifies that screenshot or matches that screenshot with the system. The documents cannot be in draft mode, can't have track changes, can't have comments on there. It has to be finalized. Another tip would be that the document cannot be past 90 days old, or whatever your organization stipulates. It could be they could say documents could not be past 60 days old or 30 days. And if it's like a document that's reviewed annually, then they'll say can't be older than a year. All right, again, no track changes, no comments should be on it. The document must be final. Now let's take a look at how you conduct the security control assessment. So for the security control assessment, you could use this acronym TIE: testing, interviewing, examining. So testing, you're going to test things like if a system is only authorized for a certain group of people, for authorized users, maybe admins, and no one else should have access to the system, you could try to enter your credentials, your username and password, and if it does not allow you to get into the system, then it means it's working. But if it does allow you, then it means it's not working, and that's a fail. Interviewing would be you talking to the stakeholders, talking to the system owner, asking questions. If the document says, the SOP says, hey, John Doe is the person who approves any changes to the system, talk to John Doe. Hey, John Doe, are you the person in charge of approving systems, changes to the system? If John Doe says yes, then pass. If John Doe says no, fail. Examining, you're going to look at artifacts, just like what we talked about in the previous slide, looking at the different pieces of evidence, making sure that they are in compliance. So here's an example of what I was saying with the evidence. Make sure it has the date and time captured. This is a screenshot of the system. Make sure that policy documents that have a signatory page are signed by the appropriate people. And for procedure documents, make sure there is a revision history table on there and the dates are correct. And this would not be a good date here. This would be an error, so this is something you could call out and actually fail. Make sure the system name is on the document. So if the system is the Windows 2K system or whatever the name of the system is, it has to reflect on that screenshot, so we know it's the right system you're assessing. Documents cannot be in draft mode, so if it says draft on there, that's a fail. You could request for the completed or final document. So comments, track changes should not be on a document. So a finalized document should not have comments on there. So here is a slide from one of the class projects that I have. As an assessor, you will be provided the screenshots and artifacts, the pieces of evidence that will be needed to assess security controls. So what you're going to do is you're going to review evidence and you're going to document the results in either your governance, risk, and compliance tool, your GRC tool, or if a GRC tool is not present, then you would document that in a SAP worksheet. So here is the SSP. The SSP contains the controls and contains the implementation description, how the controls were applied. You're going to look also at supporting documents like the business impact analysis, the configuration management plan. You're going to look at the different pieces of supporting evidence that applies to the controls in the SSP. And you're also going to be looking at screenshots to validate. If something passes, if something fails, you document that in here and move on. Now, anything that failed or the findings will be documented in what's called the Security Assessment Report. So in the Security Assessment Report, you're going to document all the failed controls, right? And once you document all the failed controls, you brief the stakeholders. So you brief your client, hey, these are the controls that failed, and these are the things, the action items you need to take to remediate, to fix them. And here's the sample of the section within the security assessment report. So you have the control number, the weakness, which is also synonymous with what failed, and the remediation actions. And pretty much it's just the opposite of what this is. And the POC, the time it's going to be to take to complete it, if the status, if it's still open or not, what the risk level is.
So there you have it. As a security control assessor, you do the SAP, you do the assessment, and then you report the results of the assessment in the SAR. And things that don't get remediated within the time frame, usually a week, result in what's called a POAM, Plan of Action and Milestone. And this is just something you use to track the findings, to make sure that the findings get fixed and they don't fall through the cracks. All right, so a security control assessor is a very key role in the risk management framework. And if anyone is interested in becoming a security control assessor, I do have an online course that covers the basics of what a security control assessor is, what they do, covers in depth the security control assessment. Most of the stuff I wasn't able to go in depth in this video, but we do have the different control families. We show you how to assess each control family, what types of evidence to look for, how to document the findings, and things of that nature. So it's a very, very good and in-depth course, and it's very affordable. So check it out, www.cyberfirstacademy.com. All right, if you have any questions regarding the role of a security control assessor, please put it in the comments. I will always respond to comments. I always do that. So please put it in the comments. No question is a dumb question. So please ask your questions and get them answered. All right, until next time.
Hey, if you're interested in any of my cybersecurity videos, here is one I would recommend for you. It's the Information System Security Officer Training. This course comes with tons of videos, a CAP, which is the Certified Authorization Professional Bootcamp, comes with quizzes, comes with a certificate of completion, resume template, ebook, monthly live Q&A sessions, the ability to ask questions as well and get a response back in 48 hours. Also has interview prep and job prep. So this is a power-packed course. For more information, visit www.cyberfirstacademy.com. Thanks. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We're also on IG at CyberFirst Solutions. Thank you.